Let's turn today's practice into a really simple practice where we let go of results. Most of us being human, we enter into almost every activity, including meditation, expecting a result, something that we'd like to accomplish, even if it's peace, even if it's quiet, even if it's a break from the thinking mind. We let go of results. We sit. We breathe. We sit and we breathe together. We guide each other into the present moment. We step outside of the momentum of our minds. Each one of us, a different part of the world, different childhoods, unique experiences, different bodies, different names, different almost everything. And each one of our experiences carry with them emotional charges. And they are like the dynamo that powers the mind. And so as we walk into this meditation room, this virtual meditation room, we're all coming and entering into this room with minds that are traveling at different speeds. Some of us holding on to experiences from a long time ago, and some of them so much more recent as this weekend, this morning. But what makes this practice so special is that we are together. And together, we hold each other's hands and we step into the present moment. And in this present moment, we discover something that's always been there. This present moment. And then we bask and we bathe in this present moment. This present moment that stays with us at all times. And even when I say all times, I contradict myself because the present moment is beyond time. It's what exists around time. That concept of time that even scientists have yet to agree on a common definition of. And so we simplify it. We step into the present moment, and my voice will guide you towards different tools that will lead us back into this present moment, where we will discover this new momentum which we will carry with us throughout the rest of our day, from moment to moment. Let's examine the present moment. I know for those of us in London, there's the temperature, which is very vivid. And we notice our mind. And how the mind deals with this environment, this temperature, these surfaces that we are resting upon. For many of us, this is a completely new environment. As well, we may have moved from one geographical location to another. But it's still the present moment. It's still the now. What is the mind? How is the mind dealing with these changes? Does it want things to be different from the way it is? Would the mind like it to be cooler? Would the mind like you to be somewhere else? The circumstances to be any different? And that's completely normal. Because the mind has its memories. It has its expectations. It holds on to many instances in the past. It projects itself into the future. Wanting things to be very different from the way they are. But let's do an experiment. Let's call this our lab, our little lab where we practice allowing, where we practice making peace with the present moment. And sometimes just hearing these words, they can be incredibly soothing. What does making peace mean to you? Just giving permission. First of all, I give permission to my mind. I give permission to my mind to hold on to whatever it is in the past it's holding on to. I give permission to my mind to project itself into the future. And one thing you'll notice as you begin to give permission and allow the mind to be as it is you begin to step outside of your thought process. And so it no longer matters what the mind is up to. Because you have entered into the space that exists around the thoughts, the combination of thoughts that make up beliefs, and the combination of beliefs that make up the mind. And that can sometimes feel like a lot, because the mind and its images, its sounds, they seem so real. But let's enter into a visualization practice so that we better understand this relationship. And so into your mind's eye, just see clouds. See if you can notice clouds. The sky can be whatever color you like it to be. It can be day or night. And then you notice the clouds. We all know clouds have so many different shapes. Shades of white fluffy cotton, or sometimes gray. But they do have a form. They do have a form. And they do, sometimes they don't appear to be moving. But if you carefully notice them constantly moving, constantly carrying themselves in one particular direction, and we get very caught up in this visualization. Have you noticed how easy it is to give your complete attention to the form of the clouds, what they look like, the texture, the colors? Simply because they reflect light. They have a form. Everything around us that we can notice with our eyes, at least, it's because the atoms and molecules are dense enough to reflect light into our eyes. But what about the space around the clouds? What about the space around the clouds? It's a little bit more difficult to notice, isn't it? Because we haven't trained ourselves to notice that space. We've habitually trained ourselves only to notice the forms. Even when you look around your room later on, when you open your eyes, you'll notice the furniture, the walls, the color, the carpets, the art, whatever it is you have around you. But not the space, because it doesn't reflect light. And in this hour that we spend together, we're going to see if we can step away from the form and into the space. Back to the mind and what you're experiencing right now. Happy, sad, frustrated, upset. It's okay to feel all of these. But instead of getting too caught up in these emotions, why don't we label them? You could even do this as a visualization. Those yellow post-it notes, those ones with the sticky backs. You could write words like this, whatever you're feeling, and stick it on the clouds. This one feels really unpleasant. This one is quite humorous. This one I don't like. Different judgments. But you can do this. Once you begin tapping into the present moment, which is the space around these clouds. But sometimes we're so caught up in the middle of the cloud. Every single one of us. Sometimes, perhaps even now, caught up right in the middle of the cloud. There's no sunshine. There's just dense, thick, misty fog. Unable to distinguish between up and down, left and right. And remember, one of these clouds has a label From the outside, somebody's labeled it. It might be frustration, sadness, anger. This is where the practice begins for most of us. And even if you're outside of these clouds right now, with that ability to label and simply notice the space between yourself and the thoughts, the thoughts, they envelop us at some point, don't they? That's probably why we're here, to learn how to develop this new relationship with our mind. Shifting our identification from the cloud, from the mind into the spaciousness. And it's not that difficult. Actually, it's not difficult at all. It just involves tapping into the present moment. And how do we do that? Let's try doing it. First, let's say it's easy. It's easy. It's easy. I do believe it's easy because I've done it before. And instead of focusing on the cloud, which is what most of us do, especially when we're in the center of it, we just divert our attention to the doorways into the present moment. And we know what the doorways are. The sense of sight, for most of us, our eyes are closed, so let's rule that. Let's shelf that for a moment. The sense of hearing. Yes, the sense of hearing. What can I hear right now? What can I hear right now in my surroundings? In my immediate surroundings? Within my own body? Beyond the walls of my room? Sounds near and sounds far, but I'm not interested in the sounds that I can remember from a moment ago, from 5 minutes ago. I'm not even searching for sounds because that means I'm trying to think about something from the future. I'm interested in the sounds right now at this moment. I'll give you an example. For me, it's the sound of my computer. It seems to be like a fan, a very soft fan blowing within it. But other than that, it seems just distant traffic, perhaps sirens. What can you hear? I can now hear a car outside my window, just driving past. The doorways, they begin to open. We begin to become more present. And then you notice how the mind begins to play its games. It forms judgments of different sounds. Just like a moment ago, I noticed it's a car. I only noticed that it was the sound of a car moving past my window because my mind got involved. My mind has learned what cars sound like. My mind is trying to make sense of that sound coming out of my computer. And so your mind will start aligning itself to your hearing, your sense of hearing as it deciphers, and then you may notice judgments such as, this sound is too loud, this one's too soft, I like this, I don't like that. But we want to ground ourselves into this present moment and continue with the labeling. So just grab a few yellow post-it notes, stick them on the clouds. Okay, that that one's too loud. That one's maybe too soft. I like that. I don't like that. The sound of my heartbeat, the sound of traffic, the sound of footsteps, the sound of voices. While you remain fairly stable, fairly comfortable observing, noticing, not getting sucked into the clouds. And wait a second, you're starting to notice that you've stepped outside of the cloud into the present moment. That wasn't too difficult. Now what else? I want to ground myself even deeper into the present moment. I like this. Yes, my sense of touch. And the sense of touch, now this is so incredible. All around my body, not only my fingers. For me, my hands are resting on my lap, on my legs, because I've adopted a sort of kneeling, seated position. I can feel the weight of my arms on my legs. I can feel the warmth of my legs through the skin on my arms. I can feel the fabric of my clothing. I can feel the fabric of the clothing that covers my body. And this is the sense of touch. You can almost visualize this sense of touch as a light expanding throughout your body, awakening the pores, awakening the surfaces. And then you notice the temperatures. You notice the roughness or the softness of the fabrics. You notice the lovely cushions or chairs or flooring or whatever it is underneath you that supports your body. The soles of your feet. And the thoughts will sometimes try to pull you back. They'll try to suck you back into that past, that future. And if you live in the past, and the past was more pleasant than the present moment, if the mind has produced that judgment of the past being more pleasant, then you'll notice you're resisting the present moment. I don't like this now. I don't like this present moment. I want it to be like it was before. Sometimes it visualizes the kind of space you'd like to be in. Sometimes it might be so simple. It might just be a fan in the room or a cooler temperature. And then you wind up resisting, pushing against the present moment. But let us practice allowing, giving permission. Simply labeling, not getting too caught up in the likes and dislikes and the judgments. And you bring yourself to your breath. And as you breathe out, letting go of the past, letting go of those future projections, and then breathing in, noticing how your sense of touch, how it expands into the inner part of the nostrils, into and through the nasal passage. And now we begin to watch our breath. This precious, precious breath. Because it is also a tool that will help us to ground ourselves and tap into the present moment. the present moment that's always here, but simply clouded by the misty thoughts from the past, from the future. But we bring ourselves back over and over to our breath, making every breath the only breath. And when you see your breath in this way, you no longer feel frustrated. You no longer feel bored. And it doesn't matter if the mind has wandered away during the last breath, the last 10 or 20 breaths. Because it's only the breath that is entering or leaving right now that matters. Only this breath. None of the others. Allowing the intake of breath to be a new beginning and a new start. The mind might be saying, I've done this before. I recognize those words. I did it the other day and it was incredible. But I don't think it's going to have the same effect today. Did you notice how the chatter of the mind begins? And how it takes us away from the practice? But let us breathe in very sincerely, so that this intake of breath becomes a new beginning, for no other reason than to ground us deeper into the present moment. Because the breath is the only thing, one of the things that we can do only in the present moment. And you can never skip a breath. Continuous. And so we breathe in delicious breath, breathing in as deeply as you can. And then exhaling and releasing as slowly and as gently and as kindly as you'd like to. So that the exhalation, the sensations that surround the releasing of the breath, they become so much more vivid. The humidity, the warmth of the air, the direction in which it flows out, the humidity, the warmth brushing against the upper lip, brushing against the tiny hairs at the edge of the nostrils. And then you notice which nasal passage it is that is active today in the breathing process. Is it the right one or the left one? And as you exhale, you release the carbon dioxide. Within that humidity, within that warmth, what else would you like to release? Because this exercise is more real than anything else. Because we no longer need to carry with us our past. It could be habits that you would wish to release, because we are a creature of habits. Our grandparents taught our parents taught us what's right, what's wrong, what's this, what's that. We're not interested in doing, because all of that involved doing. We're just interested in being in this present moment. Just allowing the present moment in its entirety. So it no longer matters what languages each and every one of us speak. It no longer matters what we look like, where we are, what we do for a living, how much we have in our banks. All that we've accumulated in terms of status, in terms of educational attainments. We breathe all of that out, including our gender, our sexuality, our habits. In this part of the practice, you can almost imagine yourself. You can use a visualization of yourself getting into a train with a lot of luggage. Let's call this train life. The University of Life. We've just entered into it, and we're carrying a huge amount of luggage from the past, including expectations of results, that those attainments that we would like to achieve. And the luggage is very heavy as we get into this train. And then we sit down on the seat, still holding on to the luggage. And then we carry the luggage on top of our heads. Why would we do that? That's what we're doing in our daily lives, carrying so much unnecessary baggage. But then we look up in this present moment. There are luggage racks that have been provided. Many, many different luggage racks. So we don't want to let go of the luggage completely, because the luggage it's going to help us survive in this world. Yes, it's useful. We've recognized its usefulness. It teaches us what hot is, what cold is, how to cook, how to tend to ourselves, our likes, our dislikes. But right now it's starting to weigh down on us, because we're carrying it on top of our heads. The neck begins to feel a bit tight and painful. Why aren't we using the luggage racks? This present moment, this now. And then we breathe, we become aware, we become present, we are present, we become human beings. And then as we breathe out, we pick ourselves up along with this luggage, placing it on the luggage compartments, the overhead luggage compartments. And the neck feels good. The arms feel good. We feel so much lighter. Would you like to do that? With everything? Just park it? Just leave it, knowing that you can reach for it anytime you want to? Let's do that. Let's turn this into a part of our practice and proceed with the lightness of knowing that it's all safe, that it's all taken care of, it's all supported. And just sitting back. And perhaps we find ourselves in the exact seated position that we find ourselves right now at this present moment. Breathing in, deeply in. Exhaling slowly and gently, releasing, letting go. allowing the luggage to just be. And then we begin this journey into the university of life. Looking at the landscape outside of us, within the train cabin, outside the window, the space, the beauty. The train passes through many different stations, destinations. We notice the judgments, some we like, some we don't. But it doesn't matter because there is space between us, this observing presence, this witnessing presence, and that landscape, and that landfill, and that dump or whatever it is it sometimes passes. We don't need to get too caught up in it. We can still see the judgments. I like those beautiful mountains, that still lake, that field of flowers. I don't like the landfill. I don't like that junkyard. I don't like whatever it is you don't like during this journey. But we sit, we breathe, we observe and continue as this great rock of awareness. Can you ground yourself into this present moment? Using your breath, or rather the sensations of your breath. The sensations that you can experience throughout your body. Your sense of smell, another doorway into the present moment. Perhaps not so relevant right now, but it can be relevant when you're eating your food, when you're at the florist or in a garden. Your sense of taste, when you're tasting water, food, something you like, something that you may not like and you may avoid later on, but still seeing the value in everything. This ability to distinguish contrast between what you like and what you would not like as a part of your experience. Just like the train journey. I'd like a house or a place in those mountains with great views, but not next to the landfill and the rubbish. You've arrived at a decision with the help of your mind. And so perhaps every experience somehow contributes to who we truly are. Let's just be open to this. Just as we once became open to the space around the clouds. Open to the possibility that we are so much more than our minds, so much more than our bodies, so much more than the labels that we have learned about through our families, our teachers, and the media. And let us shift into identification with all that we do not yet know, where it is so much lighter, free of judgments, and more allowing of this present moment. In a moment, I'll ring the bell, and this is just going to be an opportunity for you to stretch your body, to adopt a new posture, to have a sip of water, anything at all that will help you to feel a little bit more comfortable. I'm not sure if you moved your body, but if you did, can you feel the changes that have taken place within your body? Might be a sense of relief, just a different experience, anything at all. Or perhaps you're like me, I didn't move other than to lift up the little object which I use to stroke the bell. Let's move into a body scan. We'll visualize a light bathing different parts of the body which my voice will guide you towards. And so that we don't have to think too much while we're doing the practice, let's infuse this light with certain qualities. What quality would you like to infuse this light with? Kindness. I use the word kindness a lot because I think that's the essence of this practice. Perhaps even the essence of all of life. Just softness, kindness, acceptance, allowing. The kind that brings smiles and comfort. We'll infuse it with intelligence, and not the kind of intelligence that we get from books, but the kind of intelligence that allows us to recognize what is real, and perhaps to distinguish that from what isn't. Beliefs that do not serve us, beliefs that sometimes hurt us and those around us. Yes, that's intelligence, isn't it? The intelligence that allows us to recognize the connection between each and every one of us, between each and every one of us and the cities that we live in, the people around us, the animals around us, the plants around us, the air around us, the sunlight around us, all connected. If you need proof, it just comes. You can see it in everything that we eat. All its underlying basis being sunlight. The greenery which comes from the absorption of sunlight into the leaves, consumed by animals or consumed by us. all connected. Maybe that's intelligence. Learning to somehow understand, accept, and allow our very special and unique place within all of this. If we exist, then there's a reason. And so let this light be infused by the intelligence that will allow us to realize all of this. And so we begin. This light bathing that region around the forehead. And so it reaches the skin, which joins into the eyebrows, which blends into the scalp, into the eyelids, the sides of the head, the back of the neck, bathed in this light. You can even imagine what it might feel like, what liquid light would feel like, what a comforting, kind and soothing light would feel like as it bathed your scalp, as it penetrated through the skin and into the bone, and through the bone into that space where the brain sits, where the inner parts of the ears are, where the inner parts of the eyes are, where the breathing areas are in the front of the face, the mouth, the jaws, all bathed by this light of awareness. And then we allow the brain to rest. Although rest in the case of the brain, it still continues functioning, performing many functions that support our body as it breathes, as the cells continue to move, the blood continues to flow. But we let go, we observe, not giving it any more to do than it already has. And then we allow the cells within the brain to balance themselves, the immune system to rise. And the immune system, it's a single word, but it simply means allowing all the different cells in our body to work in harmony, to work and to live in harmony. In fact, work may not be an accurate description, because it just, all we want is for the cells to just be as they are. Nothing to do, just be, because the intelligence within the cell, it knows its place, it knows its function, just as we are beginning to understand our own function in this existence. Just like the light, the understanding dawning, filling us with this awareness, this understanding, this intelligence. We are a single cell in this planet, but still a crucial cell, an important cell, one that has incredible functions. We may not have figured it out yet, but it's there. And we don't need to figure it out, because the very fact that we are breathing, that we're here, that we're tapping into the present moment is all that matters. We are contributing to the planet. just by tapping into the present moment. Because it's this very stillness, this very peace that we wish for the world around us, for all those around us, for all the people, all the animals, all of nature. And with our eyes closed, there's no need to distinguish yourself from this planet. There's no need to distinguish yourself from this existence, this universe, and whatever lies beyond it. The physical boundaries no longer matter. The walls no longer matter. This light of awareness spread down the spinal column, vertebra by vertebra, all the way down to the base of the spine, which rests itself on the pelvic bone. And then we'll allow this light through the spinal column to join in with the different nerve centers which reach throughout our body. We'll allow this light as well to spread throughout our body, through the different organs within our chest, our stomachs, our hands, our arms, reaching every surface, including the legs, the four joints, the knee joints, the elbow joints, the whole body, bathed in this light of awareness. And so see if you can imagine yourself, see if you can visualize yourself bathed in this light. And so right now you're a sitting, breathing body of light, a light of awareness, with so much lightness. Letting go of the heaviness as you breathe out, any remaining pockets of heaviness. And then we let this light spread throughout our body. And when I refer to body now, I mean our extended bodies. This body that includes not only the space around you, but the space that covers continents and oceans and seas and cities and countless people, young and old, people we care about, people we love, strangers. And whatever we experience right now, we release an intention that we would like every single one of these beautiful people and animals to also experience it. Because we know when people are happy, when people are joyful, they're nice to each other. They're kind to each other. And people can only be harsh and angry and mean when they experience hurt within themselves. And so we arrive at this understanding, and then we forgive all those who have hurt us in the past, who may hurt us even in the coming days and months and weeks. They can only hurt if they experience hurt. And so we wish for peace, we wish for smiles, we wish for kindness. Not everyone expresses joy and happiness with smiles and laughter. We all have our own ways. And we allow this light to now reach the specific people in our lives who we would like it to reach. And there is certainty within us that as we enter into this practice with our eyes closed, our borders have faded, our bodies have faded away, dissolved, and we are able to reach them. Truly reach them, not only at a surface level, but deep within. What we experience at this moment, they too have the ability to experience. And we ask that this light shows them how. Shows them how to experience the stillness, this present moment, this kindness. And with the sound of the bell, the practice begins. From moment to moment. And it's easy. It's easy. Just wanted to say thank you so much for bringing your beautiful energies to this practice. I really enjoyed it.